guys, this is Stormouse03, and this is my Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Dark Difficulty walkthrough. In this episode, I'm going to be working on the Death Symbolized quest for the main missions, and also the With Flickering Heart side quest. So the first thing that you want to do is talk to Felicia Corey right here, and you're going to want to buy the surgical tools from her. So they should be in this quest items thing. It says surgical tools, and you pick those up. That is so that you can complete the With Flickering Heart side quest while we're down in the catacombs getting our done banner for the main mission. So again, we're going to be knocking out two things in one area, which is pretty cool. If you are just, catching up with this video, if you needed help with the With Flickering Heart quest, what you needed to do to initialize that was talk to Elias, the elf standing outside the pub, and then you needed to walk into the burned out village section outside of town, sort of on the way to the quarry and stuff. So those two things are sort of requirements before you go to this section of that side quest. But we did that already a few videos ago, and so now we're just going to be heading to the catacombs. So if you remember coming out this way when we were getting the first magical crystal from the queen, or not the queen, from the harpy nest that sort of started that quest line. This is the same area. We're going back through it. If you haven't been through here before, the dwarf and his 3 followers who I killed earlier, they might be there if you haven't, or they probably will be there if you haven't come through here yet. I think they're just, they're there whenever you come through this area. And the bandits that I killed earlier will probably be where I am right now, but if you've killed them already, it's just going to be these neckers, which is cool. Because I actually prefer neckers to stupid humans who like to block my attacks. Again, you might run into some drowners if you come through here. You might run into some harpies, but if you sort of take the direct path there, you probably will only come up against those neckers on your way between the catacombs and the edge of this area. So it's really dark right here. I'm going to stop in a second. And I cut it out, but you'll probably see the difference in the screen where I turn my brightness up because I'm like, I can't see this game. There it is. So, again, similarly to when I was in the mines, I just can't see with these cursed weapons on. So you put on Ard, and that's how you smash through a lot of these brick walls here. And there's going to be a bunch of wraiths in these areas, and the wraiths can be irritating, but with upgraded Igni they get taken out pretty quickly. You just want to be careful running into the room because you might get surrounded like I did just then by a couple of them. The other good thing about this upgraded Igni stuff is that if you can get the enemies to cluster, it will hit multiple ones and do quite a bit of damage. So that was 4 wraiths in that room right there, and you'll notice that the 4th one only spawned after you'd killed a couple of them. So you just want to be careful. What I'm going to be doing now, that you don't have to do, this is optional because I'll show you the one body that you will need to uncover, But what you can do for a little bit of extra loot and experience is to loot some of these bodies. The only thing that you need to make note of when you go to uncover these bodies is that sometimes a wraith will spawn. And you'll notice that I'm sort of hesitant. I back away from every single one of them because it's sort of random where which ones the wraiths will spawn on. It may not be random. They may spawn on the same ones every time. I can't confirm or deny. Because, I mean, I played through this, but I just don't remember, which corpses I had a wraith spawn on me for and which ones didn't. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, you want to be prepared to fight one if one does spawn. If it doesn't, just loot the corpses. But this is a good way to sort of get a little bit of extra loot and to also get some XP from killing the wraiths. Just make sure that you're not, going around uncovering a bunch of them at once, because you might be spawning in several wraiths at a time, and that, is less good. You don't want to be doing that. Spawning in multiple ones that you'll have to take care of, right? Because, I mean, if I had uncovered both of those two that are side by side and 2 wraiths spawned, then I'd have 2 that were surrounding me, instead of dealing with them one by one. You get the idea. It's just, not the best. So some of these will just be, walls with some bodies in them that you can't really do anything with. I think the middle 2, that one and this one right here, are the walls that you break, but there's really nothing you can do with them. You can go down in there. I'm going to be going down there in a second, but first I'm going to come hit up this place of power and head on through this wall. And again, there's going to be another room with some bodies that I'm going to, kill these wraiths first before I start doing anything. There will probably be 3 that spawn in this room. Yep, there's the 3rd one. And then once you're pretty sure that you've killed all of the wraiths in the room, you can go about sort of systematically uncovering all the bodies again. And so the whole purpose of uncovering the bodies is because you're looking for one that is the body of the latest victim of whoever this serial killer / murderer / we don't know who what is killing these people. And so you're looking for kind of a fresh corpse. Most of the bodies in here have been in here for some time, and so that's kind of the point of unwrapping them. You can examine all of these corpses, but he'll say something like, I'm looking for a fresh corpse, or, this one's been here too long, it's not this one. So there's really no point in doing that. We're trying to find a specific one, and it's going to actually be in this room. And you'll notice that it looks a lot different. It's got a candle on it. Just to draw even more attention to itself. And we'll get to that in just a second. But yeah, apparently Geralt, in addition to, being a professional monster slayer, he's also a professional at inspecting wounds on bodies, which makes sense, I guess. I was going to make fun of him for that for a second, and then I was like, but yeah, that kind of makes sense, that he would be able to tell, whether... Here's the one that we want to inspect, by the way. That he'd be able to tell whether, a creature killed someone, or whether it was another person that killed someone. And if it was a creature, like what kind of creature it might have been. That makes sense with his line of work. So, sorry about that, Geralt. I was gonna make fun of you, buddy, but never mind. I would have been wrong. So he is a monster hunter slash mortician slash medical examiner person. You know, he's got a lot of skills. He could definitely get a job in the real world, I think. So here is the actual corpse that we want to look at to follow the quest. So for this one, we're going to hit X to examine the corpse. And I'm going to put that sword away so I can see it a little bit better. And so there are lots of things that you can examine here. You just want to look at you know, at all of them, but there are two main places that you want to make sure that you look. You want to make sure that you look at his arm and look at the sort of defense wound on his arm, and you also want to make sure that you turn him over to look at his back. So you'll see that he's holding some hairs that look kind of strategically placed. And then you also have defense wounds, and he notices that there's a metal splinter, which is interesting because that's an important clue, because if it was a creature that attacked him, there probably wouldn't be metal splinters embedded in the wounds. And then when you turn him over, you'll find some scratch marks on his back, and of course scratch marks on your back mean sex, apparently. And then he finds this book of Dandelion's poetry. And so that's going to be our next stop for this quest. After you sort of summarize your findings, Geralt, with his monster knowledge, indicates that it looks like a succubus attack, but everything isn't quite matching up, and we want to know about Dandelion's poems. And so the next part of this quest is going to be figuring those out. You also got a perk here called Anatomy Lesson, and that puts your damage against humans at plus 10%, apparently, which is pretty neat. So the next stage in the With Flickering Heart quest is to go talk to Dandelion, but we're going to do one more thing while we're down here in the catacombs for the main quest. And so you'll see we're sort of across from where we were before. We sort of went in and came out, and now we're going to go down here. Again, there are going to be some wraiths that spawn, and you want to be careful about going into the room and getting surrounded. So you want to use the edges of the room and sort of back your way out to get out of some sticky situations. I could be using my heliotrope sign right now, but I decided it was only a couple of wraiths, so this is going to save it just in case I happen to get surrounded again. And so even though we've already found the corpse that we need, we can still uncover these bodies in order to get a little bit more loot and to get a little bit more XP from killing the wraiths that might spawn. So, gonna make sure that I do that in both this room and the room directly across. I thought I was going to pick up something or I thought I saw something to pick up, but I guess it was just the use the lantern thing. Oh, and here's something that you should be careful of. If you go into either one of these rooms, be careful not to wander into both of them, because then you'll end up with 6 wraiths, or 5 of them at least, spawned all at once, and that could get really messy. So if you come into one room, make sure that you kill the wraiths in that room before moving over to the next room, because that could get incredibly unpleasant very quickly if you happen to, accidentally roll over into the next room and spawn in those wraiths. I believe that I've done that before. It's possible. So only a couple of bodies in this area, and those stairs are where you would come down if you hadn't broken through into the room that you needed to break into in order to check out the fresh corpse. But now we're going to come in here and we're going to have a chat with this ghost right here. And so we're looking for the Dun Banner, which is part of the Hatred Symbolized quest, which is one of the things, the ingredients, I guess, that we need in order to heal Saskia. And so you have to answer these questions in a very specific way, or you'll have to fight this guy. So you want to tell him that you served in the Dun Banner, that you were there at the battle, and you have to give him these answers very specifically. I think you can have an item that you would have won off of Scalen Burden at poker, at dice poker, if you played him, I think, one more time and won, you could have gotten something. But I'll tell you the answers. So the first thing you want to say is you got it wrong, because I guess he's like testing your knowledge of whether or not you were truly there. And then he's going to ask who's chief commander of the Nilfgaardians, and that is Minnow Cohorn. And then he mentions something about he'll still be a great commander, he'll, do things, and then it's like, nope, he's dead. He's not going to be a commander or spill any more blood anytime soon. And so he doesn't quite believe you yet. He might believe you on Brenna, the Battle of Brenna, but now he's asking about the Battle of Vergen. And so he wants to know who commanded the armies. And now these are answers you would find out if you talk to people. So the answer to this is Vandergrift and Seltkirk. And so if you talk to some of the dwarves around town and, just kind of asked about the history of the place and about the Battle of Vergen and the Battle of Brenna, you could find out all of this information. So it's not that, I just know the answers, it's that you would know. So for this one, the answer is going to be Biggerhorn took me prisoner, because apparently he set a trap there.
Are of no import to me. This one should be. It has stopped King Hensel's army from advancing. The unicorn has returned. He stands at Vergen's gates. With your help, to avenge the Dun Banner. The standard lies in the sarcophagus. Take it. You will also find the sword of Colonel Gondor. Now it is yours. Thank you.
Right. So if you missed some of these questions, then you would have to fight this guy. And I'm not actually sure what the fight would be like because I've always answered his questions correctly. And if you have that item, if you won twice against Scalen Burden at Dice Poker and had his some item that he gives you, it's a hat or something, you would be able to answer one of these questions incorrectly and still continue. But there it is, you pick up the Dun Banner. There's also a sword in there, but the sword is definitely not going to be better than what we already have. Just to sort of give you an idea of the statistics, it's definitely not as good as the Black Unicorn sword that we already have equipped. But again, it's an item that you can sell. So that is always good. There are going to be a couple more bodies in here that you can loot and grab some XP off of the race that may or may not spawn. And then we're going to be out of here. And going back to do a little bit more work to wrap up the With Flickering Heart quest. So I think this is the last corpse in these catacombs. And no wraith. And you can't get to the one back here, unfortunately. So that will do it. And you should have, I think that's all the enemies that are in this entire area. So now you can just hoof it all the way back to the pub. And you'll find Dandelion sometimes he's out in the main area, but if he's not there, he'll be at this door right up the stairs, resting in his room. And sometimes it's hard to find him because it doesn't give you a quest marker. So if you didn't know where he was, it took me forever to find this guy in his stupid room when I played this the first time. But I remembered where he was when I was playing it this time, so that's good. So you talk to him, you tell him you need to use him as bait for the succubus that has been perhaps killing these men. And Dandelion is like, well, that doesn't sound fun, although succubus, they kill people with sex, so it might not be such a bad way to go, is his reasoning, which is kind of funny. Of course, he's Dandelion, so it's in character. And so you just want to run, and it's already nighttime for me, but if it is not nighttime, you just need to use your medallion and wait until midnight here, and then you'll get this cutscene. And we're going to actually be in control of Dandelion here for a while. He needs to lure the succubus, and apparently succubi are attracted to art, poetry, those sorts of things. And so that's why we needed Dandelion. And so at this point, you're in control of our bard here. And so you want to start off with if our bodies. And then my heart would inquire.
If they'd grasp it gently to hold like a rose. Or treat it as a
And then, or treat it as a morsel. And that should suffice to call forth the succubus.
I've come to praise your unearthly beauty, if you'll do me the honor of revealing your full self.
Indeed. I shall reveal to you all my splendors. Prepare more than your
Her voice is strange, by the way.
Come with me for the adventure of your life, fair poet.
And so you can, if you're Dandelion, you can go down there, or you can go back to Geralt. It seems more in character for him to just, go down the ladder toward pleasure or peril. We aren't sure. Maybe both. So as soon as you get far enough, you'll then be back in control of Geralt, who thinks that Dandelion is an idiot, and maybe he is, but that seems like what he'd do. And so then you go down there as well. And you're going to have a little chat with the succubus. I think I'm going to cut out most of it, because it's kind of unnecessary. Also, goat legs. Excellent. So she talks to you. She says that it wasn't her who killed these people because she needs their life energy. So it wouldn't be any good for her to kill them because that doesn't make any sense. And knowing about monsters, you should know that, Geralt. So she suggests that it was this guy, one of her lovers, Elias, who actually fell in love with her and is jealous because she's a succubus and, sleeps with a lot of people. So you come back, you confront Elias about it, you have a little chat, and then he's definitely guilty. So if you want to do the right thing on this quest, you say, I don't believe you, and tell him that you're going to inform Iorveth of his crimes. He'll deny it, because he's just like that. He thought that he could just kill folks and get away with it and blame it on an innocent monster creature. And so Iorveth is located back this way toward where we went, to the catacombs, but not actually out of town. He's going to be in this house right up here, to the right of the exit. And you just want to talk to him, tell him that his Scoia'tael, Elias, is a murderer. And you can present him with the shard of metal that you got out of the body as proof. And he'll compare it to one of Elias's weapons. And you'll find out, when he goes to check on it and comes back, which you don't have to wait for, it's all the same cutscene. When he comes back, he'll have, found out that it was true. He was actually the person who did the killings, and he has left town, and so now you're gonna just go tell the succubus that all is well. But when you get down here, you're gonna have a not-so-surprise attack. So when you get back to the burned village area, Elias is gonna be here. You just want to use your steel sword against him. And at some point, I'll find where he is. There he is. And so you just, kill him. It's just him. Sometimes there will be some wraiths that spawn in this area at night, but luckily it was just him that I had to deal with because I killed the wraiths on my way out of town. Or out of the burned village. And so once you take care of him, you can go talk to the succubus and let her know that, the mystery has been solved, Elias has been taken care of, all is well. Another way you can handle this quest is to kill her. That's kind of rude. I mean, you don't want to kill the wrong person. And she will give you some stuff as a reward in the chest.
As tempting as others might
You can
be,
also
I
sleep with her if you want to.
on the sex, of course. Got anything else for me?
Don't really find goat legs and horns all that attractive. So, goodbye, succubus lady. Just give me the stuff.
Remember me by. Goodbye. Witch.
So there you go. That is with Flickering Heart complete. And the last thing that I'm going to do here is check out this armor. So it's not bad armor, this Tyson's armor. Tyson's armor, maybe. But it's not as good, obviously, as your Oathbreaker set. But it might be okay armor if you don't have this set. If you're, looking for a bit of an upgrade, it's possible. But again, something for us to sell. So that's going to be the end of this section, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.